What's up? Looks like we're still activating on some of the networks. I use a restream, so it takes a minute for it to connect. What's interesting, chat isn't popping up. Let's see, maybe it's still trying to connect. Sure, we are all set on going live, make sure everything's working. Yeah, I don't know why chat's not. I'm going to close it and try to reopen it. Yeah, it's struggling. Okay, there it goes. All right, let me log in. All the places. Sweet. Okay, I think we are good. Sweet. Make sure all of our mic settings are right. Looks good. Cool. So yeah, making some interesting headways. Let me hit run and show you kind of where we're at. So a few things since the last stream. We have now the concept of multiple gravity directions, which just came in earlier today. I worked on that this afternoon. And so you can see there's like zones where you spawn in, and I have a hotkey that just lets me like pick random places for each character. And based on which zone you're in, one sec. Hearing things. Thought I heard some. But yeah, based on where you spawn in, that is the direction you'll go. And you can see these arrows kind of guiding you. So if I hit play, we can see fun stuff happening. So one of the bugs we're having right now is the multi-ball is not functioning. So you can see there's this like white ball here and here, another one over here. These should not exist. They should be colored, and also they should not be sitting there. So there is a bug happening right now. So we are going to first fix that. And I think I have an idea of a way to fix it. It's really weird. It's getting a null ref when the thing should not be null. So kind of odd, but we can work around it. I just remembered, for whatever reason on our Discord, it doesn't look like it's doing the announcements anymore. So I think I'm just going to manually post. In just a sec. Okay. Yeah, so let's look into that. So I think the problem is, well, what the real problem is, I'm not actually sure, but I think I have a good workaround. So let me open up the right script here. Trying to remember which object. It's going to be the multi-ball. Oh, of course, right after I say, I don't know why it's not posting, it then posts. Awkward. I ran the other day and it didn't post. So maybe it was because it was over the weekend or something. I'm going to delete that post then, and we'll just pretend it never happened. There we go. All right, so let's go ahead and open up the script that should be on the multi-ball power-up. This guy, multi-ball power-up. So that was the solution. That's right. I'm going to add a component on here called constant force. And I'm currently adding it through a script, which I've done a ton of times. It's just for some reason, one of the values, specifically force, does not seem to want to be set. It's being difficult. So we are going to try something. Okay. So all these prints are because we're having some weird problems. Basically, we are successfully able to get this value, like this line is giving us a null ref, even though we are getting both the left side of the argument and the right side validated beforehand. So it's very odd. I think it could be something where it just doesn't seem to want to set force, even though it's not giving me a message like that's the problem, and it has a set ability. I don't know. So we're going to not add a new gravity override. We are going to access the cloned objects. Okay, so if other game object has a gravity override, oh, I might have just figured it out myself. So it needs gravity override and it needs constant force. Okay, I think we're missing a component. So let's give it a gravity override. And let's assign that. And then really we should just be setting... Oh, I see. Yeah, it doesn't actually... No, we actually don't want to have a gravity override. We really just need to have a force. So when we add component... We don't want to add a gravity override. We want to add a... what is it called? Constant force. Well, we have a constant force, so we don't need to add it. So we'll call this force. Say a new ball, constant force. Okay. We don't actually need to clone the object. We want to get components. Yeah, I kept messing with gravity override, which is just a script that sets constant force. So that makes sense. It's still kind of weird. I couldn't set because it has a value called force, I thought, but whatever. That's fine. We don't need an null ref. That was like overkill. Let's just go to that. And now we want this guy to be set to... Yeah, see, we're checking gravity override. We actually don't care about that. We just want to get its constant force. All of these. So we're just trying to get the current constant force of the initial ball. Because basically what happens, we're overriding our... oops, I'm on the I've been on the wrong window. Sorry, y'all. We're overriding our native gravity in Unity with the constant force component, which is this guy here. And so our initial ball hits a multi-ball when it spawns its prefabs. They don't have a knowledge of which way gravity is because they haven't been informed. Because when you spawn, you can actually choose your gravity zone. So we need to pass that value. So that's what we're doing here. It's funny how like I was totally stuck in this for like 15 minutes and then I came home from the office and now it's like, oh, that's obviously the problem. So sometimes you just gotta step away. Okay, so we're setting, it still was a weird error. Like that being a null ref still doesn't make a ton of sense. But yeah, let me close this. We don't need that. Let me make sure I'm not making another mistake. So in the ball that arrives, we make sure we have a constant force component, which we should. And then we get the cloned objects constant force. And then now we could do a null ref check there, but we're going to go without it because I manually added it to the object. So it should have it for sure. And then well, whatever. Let's just do the right thing. Because maybe in the future I'll remove it and then I'll forget and then I'll have a null ref. Then we set its force. And we set it to the one that it came from, and that should finally work for us. I think we also, I don't know if the last stream I had showcased our cute little furniture guys. We are actively trying not to use quality art in our prototype, but honestly these are kind of charming and I'm kind of like starting to like these. With that said, the art that we have planned is pretty cool. Okay, let's go ahead and hit play. All right, let's see how that goes. One of these guys hits a multi-ball. Yeah, okay, it worked. Ooh, getting lots of yellows. Now that they can go crossways, there's a point where I can't tell always which way a ball is going, and I can't tell if that's a good or a bad thing. I feel like if you're watching yours, so like let's say I'm going to be green, and I'm just going to watch green. I don't think that's a problem. And realistically, I feel like players are going to mostly be watching their own ball. So it's probably fine. I think when you lose track is when you just kind of like watch the whole scene kind of play out. And you just want to see the chaos. It can be sometimes a little confusing which way, try to make sense of which way balls are going. But the goal I have here with this design is like I want it to feel, because these are going to become raccoons, I want it to feel chaotic, and you just kind of like see, well, it feels less like kind of pinball or plinko or pachinko, and it just looks like raccoons running through a house and causing chaos. As we go, I want to keep removing the plinko elements. So we have all these pegs right now, which work well from a gameplay standpoint, but we're going to try to find ways to make those less prevalent. But yeah. And yeah, obviously this design right now with this sideways hallway no longer works. Before you could only enter in this direction, so it worked fine, but not quite as well anymore. In fact, even for a placeholder, I might go ahead, because we're actually going to replace this level probably tomorrow. But if these are, oh, they are sectioned out perfect. So I'll just give a gap, right? Just so like there is places to basically fall through. I hope that's big enough. Something like that. So maybe there's less likelihood. I mean, they could still probably get trapped in there, but Yeah. Oh, you know what? Actually, then I wonder if we end them. I'm trying to think of like how do we avoid the ones in here exiting too early. I don't know if we can really avoid that. Okay. So that's fixed. So that's cool. Hey, how's it going? Thanks for coming by. The newest thing I was mentioning a bit earlier on the stream is we got multiple gravity directions, which I'm pretty excited about. And so we can have much more chaos, which is fun. I think I'm going to score. Oh, we're getting lots of multi-ball. That's cool. We did get some white ones here, which is odd. But they do have gravity, so their color just was set to none. All right. Let me turn down my music a bit. This is hard to talk, code, and listen to music. Oh yeah, let me get the. So I wanted to get the score back on. So somewhere I can't remember. Oh yeah, I literally just disabled it. I don't think this is a world. Okay, it's a screen space. So we're gonna. So right now it's these big old things here. I think I'm just gonna steal these out and put them in a world space canvas. I have this. These are individual canvases that are like chilled. Oh, this thing's normally you don't want to have a lot of canvases. Canvases are actually kind of expensive computationally. So, Quack? I think that is a good question. It was definitely iterative. Like I think when I started out, I was just making like little adjustments to things that other coders wrote. So like I kind of started more as a producer. I knew how to do audio, so I was like the audio guy / producer, and I gathered a bunch of people I knew, and they were doing like 95% of the coding, and I was kind of doing like inspector edits and level design kind of things just to help out. And then I started to dabble with what was it called? It was a visual scripting for Unity. It's a third-party plugin, Playmaker, I think, something like that. And that was like that's sort of like Unreal Blueprints. Like there was no actual real code. It was just like logic, paths, and nodes. And then eventually, I just felt like I was hitting a limit there, and so I just started to learn to code a little bit and just like watching videos and like doing very simple scripts. And then I would want to modify that script. And then I would say, okay, how do I just do this one thing? And then I would like Google that one specific thing. And then by doing that enough scripts, I just started to memorize the things that you can do. I mean, I don't even know how many years I've been coding now. I think it's closing in on maybe 10 years that I've been an engineer, and before that I was doing audio. So I think it's before I could make like my first game though. Wasn't that long though. Like I could have probably made, and I did make some games early in my career, and I would say maybe 6 months to a year. I don't know. It wasn't something that I was like super focused on getting. I was like dabbling and like doing other stuff. I was really into game audio at the time, and that was my career. So I didn't like full on dive in right away. So yeah, it's one of those things. Like I definitely recommend people just like start, like just start making stuff, and it's probably not going to be great, but that's okay. Like it's totally okay. It's just good to learn by doing. What were we doing? I always lose track. I do that with like when I'm doing house projects too. If I'm like working on something in the house, I'll like have a tool and I'll be like, what did I need that tool for? What do we need to do? Let's start with that. Oh yeah, I want to get the text back in. That's what we were doing. We have these text panels. We want to find a canvas that exists already. Like I said, canvases, you really don't want to make a ton of them, but also I'm like pretty certain we have some canvases on the map. Okay. Oh yeah, this is called labels, but it is totally a canvas. Okay. And you are world space. Yes, you are. So we're going to move our text panels to that. We are going to reset their position, which will make them look crazy. And we will reset all the children, which everything's going to be looking crazy. Everything's basically just going to stack for a second here, but that's okay. We're just trying to get it all in the canvas. Okay. Wait, what's up there? Oh, that's the old one. Okay, so then now if we turn that one off, and then we go down to this one. Yeah. Everything's way too big, but we can fix that. Oof. That was especially terrifying. Actually, it's kind of cool. It's almost like some weird abstract art. Yeah, when there's so many things, it's actually just kind of overwhelming to look at. We are going to, what are these things? Oh, this just literally says score. Let's like start with one thing at a time. Let's turn these off. Let's actually turn off the panel art. We don't need the blue backgrounds. Let's turn that one off. And so then we have score, and then what's it say? Oh, Heist crew name. Let's start with just score. And we'll just turn this panel off entirely. Okay. So now we just have a giant score word, which again kind of looks dope. Like, like it's super abstract, but like it's crisp. I like it. Okay. So we need to flip this. That is 180. And then rotate it. There we go. Okay, so where do we want to put the score? Lots of options. We have we're going to shrink this, of course. In fact, let me just shrink it a bit now. Like we can put it all sorts of places. I think I want to line it up with something though. It's good to like kind of ground it. But all the cool, like my favorite thing to do is like put it against like a wall. Maybe we'll try that. It's kind of like in the scene a little bit, like in the way, I guess, if we put it on this wall. But let's try it because I think it looks cool when it's like touching the wall. I guess I should try more interesting to watch what I'm doing than just the result. Yeah, the font is too big. That's something I never really know, like how to balance, like when to play with font size versus scale. Yeah, when it gets like down to like below 3 or 4 on font size, that's when I'm like, okay, this feels wrong, and I start to play more with scale. I wonder if this is the font we want for this kind of thing. Chunkier one looks a little cooler, I think. So I guess where the word score is, I don't feel like I want to see pegs. I feel like that's kind of distracting. So y'all gonna get out of here. Like it's kind of cool that the balls will travel around the word though. I feel like we could do something fun, like almost like shape the word with the pegs. But I don't want to get that fancy right now because this could also move 20 times. I think we just really want to turn off the ones that are like literally on top of it. So this one feels in the game view too tight to it. Let's turn off that one. Okay. Now our score is exposed a little better. Let's put the actual score there because this is just the thing that says the word score. which should be this game object, I'm guessing. No, that's the heist name. Here's the player scores. Okay, once again, we have this massive size that we now have to try to make sense of. So I guess first let's get the... Let's scale it down a little bit. That's, in this case, that's simpler, so we're just going to do that. I feel like I've been trained not to... I say trained, but like from experience, just not to use scale when it comes to UI objects, but these are world space UI objects, so maybe that's different. I don't know. Like the T tool you can mess with the rect transform values versus like here you're messing with the scale values. All right, let's make you... Why is it not wanting to expand? You should do that. Okay. I don't think that looks great. Maybe it's just the font, but I don't really like the way that's looking on the game view. Like, that looks kind of bad. It almost looks like it's at an angle, but it doesn't appear to be. Yeah, I guess this font is maybe the best. Should I see if it looks better bold or something? I feel like I want the text taller. I don't think you can modify that because that's font specific. He goes with Kern. That's nice. Actually, Kern might be good to mess with. I'm seeing I can pick Kern, but where do I actually modify it? Ah, there we go. Honestly, I'm starting to not like this font. It's just, yeah, that one's probably better. And then I can just increase the character gap. And then maybe the font's a little small. Maybe we should have less digits. I probably went a little bit over the top. Problem with this one is it's like kind of retro. I don't know if I like that. Okay. Maybe part of the problem is that box around it. How hard would it be to code a 3D realistic system in Common Lisp? I don't know what Common Lisp is. And then also, like when you say 3D realistic system, it depends which parts of the 3D realistic system do you want. It's like, are you looking just to render things? You care about the physics, like gravity and how they move through the environment. A lot of the times with 3D, you do care about those things, but not always. Sometimes you don't need to worry about physics. Maybe I'm just being totally dense. I do not know what you mean by L systems. Life systems? I'm just guessing. I'm like, what does L stand for? In some context, I am a self-taught engineer. So if this is like a super computer sciencey thing, that could be why. I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm going to. Now I'm curious. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I would have to look more into this, but yeah, that is a thing. Huh. Cool. I have some fun things to learn about. My team, something we do every morning, like we kind of do, most small companies do what's called a stand up, where you kind of like, hey, this is what I'm working on today. Something we do with our team is we do like, what did I learn yesterday? And so like we normally like share something that we figured out the day prior. And it's just kind of fun, like a moment to connect with everybody and keeps like the culture focused on learning new things. But so this kind of stuff is fun. I can learn new things and share it with people. Got a new computer. Nice. Is Godot easier? Like I've heard of Godot a ton, but I've never actually opened or downloaded Godot or Godot. Sorry, that's how much I use it. I pronounced it Godot for a second. I know like a bunch of people went to Godot when Unity's terms got kind of bad before they revoked or changed back to better terms. Okay, I need to. I don't like the way this is looking. I might just leave it without the box. I don't know. Could be it's kind of square or rounded, and I don't know if it's round. Also, I keep not forgetting, but I keep like not allowing myself to just have it be ugly because this is supposed to be placeholder art, and I need to accept that it's placeholder art. I wonder. I can't remember if Godot uses C#. Godot programming language. So it uses GD script, which is maybe a custom script that Godot has, C# and C++. That's pretty cool. See you, Greg. Have a good night. That's cool that it can support C# and C++. Unreal is C++. So that's cool. It can do both. I'm so used to Unity. I've been in Unity for like a decade. So I am hesitant to learn something new. I used Game Maker very briefly, like when I was really getting started. But yeah. Okay, that'll work for score. I do need to recount the digits because I hard coded the digit padding. Well, then like you kind of have to. I shouldn't say you have to hard code it, but it makes sense in this case. But let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 digits in our score value. So let me find my score manager. Where am I keeping it in this scene? Score tracker. And I think I already forgot the count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8, 8, 8. It was 16 before. Okay. So now let's make sure that that's renders. And then we're going to have to remove some pegs from there, I think. So when we bump into things, we should be getting some points. Nope. Okay. So something is not hooked up properly, which is kind of a surprise because I thought I just disabled. Oh, did I? Actually, no. Yeah, I thought that would have worked. Let's see. So, oh yeah, I did duplicate it. That's what I thought for a second. I was like, no, I didn't duplicate it, but I guess I totally did. Okay, so why did I do that? I don't know why I did that. Okay, well let's reassign this. Give me my canvas. All right, so this is a group score we want in our score tracker. And technically I should attach those, but I'm not using them. So we will save that for another time. Let's see how that looks. Cool. Oh, we are backwards. Okay. Let's flip our numbers the right way. Oh, I'm going to have to be out of play mode. Or I mean, yeah. So that needs to be at 0, 180. Okay, so just remember 0 and 180. Oop, okay. Expected that to be right, but let's try that. Okay. It is just trying to test me. All right. Oh, so that 225, I guess, was important. Let me actually snap it so I'm using exact. Yeah, so 180 negative 225. Okay. All right, that should be good. And then it doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't look quite centered, but I think it's an optical illusion. Like just this orthographic camera can sometimes play tricks on your eyes. I'm going to get rid of all these pegs that are blocking the score. I feel like it might look nice to put them like in the corners, but for now, we'll just delete them. I think that's probably okay. This is how it looks. I'm not in love with it, but it is present now, right? At least we got our score. I think I would like it if it was, oops, I don't want the snapping on when I'm doing that. I feel like maybe it's just too big. I don't like this rotation. Hold on. I started to like mess with the rotation, but I don't, yeah, don't want to. Yeah, it's all right. I don't want to. Part of it too is it's not the score is not aligned underneath the text. Okay. I think we're going to call that good on that particular element. And then we can move on to other stuff. Let's see how it looks when we're actually getting points. Yeah. Got a little bit of a shake. It's not the best shake, but give it some life. Looks like people still do get stuck in these halls if they come from this way. So that hall is probably got to go. Oh, you know what we could do? You see these little objects here? These are meant to like help make walls not get things stuck. So this one's a little bit big. And then we want to color it. What color is this thing? It's gray. Okay. So it blends in, so you don't really notice it a ton. But if a ball goes up against that wall, it should kind of roll off of it. I think, yeah, it's a little tricky because there's these other things that will also maybe bounce it back in. But this should help for sure. And I actually think it's kind of fun. It'll make it a little more slalomy, which I think is neat. Is this like on the ground? Oh yeah, I think so. It looks up. Oh shoot. Yeah, that is not on the ground. Are these on the ground? No, okay. I'm glad I went to ground level. All right, I'm making them a little steeper. Okay. I'm gonna delete this one because I want them to be kind of uniform. And in fact, if I can click through. All right, we can shove this one over here. And now, yeah, that can go there so they won't get stuck. This one kind of sticks out. We can do this. It's not the best, but it's something. Yeah. Visually, it's not very attractive, but um, it should work well. Makes me kind of think we may not even need these little dudes, but the idea was like it would hit and kind of bounce around and give some like nice ricochets. Just out of curiosity, let's see if we get any fun immediate results from that. It's always nice to like see the results of the work. All right, someone hit that hole. Okay, so yep, red went up there. Oh, red got stuck really bad actually. So it made it arguably worse. Okay. Not making it better. Interesting. Let's dive in and look at how we can improve this. Oh, I see. Yeah, it's basically just making like a perfect pocket there. Okay. So if we were to move this up though, make it way taller, maybe? Maybe just bigger. Yeah, it's gonna be tough because of these blocks that are there. You'd almost really have to extend those blocks. And then at that point, I don't know if that really makes sense to even have the blocks. If we were to get rid of this, get rid of that one, and then like duplicate this one here, right? But then it's gonna just fall in there. Yeah, you'd have to like totally change this to something like that. And you have to get rid of this and this. That would probably work. I wonder if it has to be that tall. Let me get out of play mode so these changes will actually stay. All right, so we're gonna have to make some quick changes here. And then after this, I am absolutely saying out loud to promise myself I am going to stop fiddling with things that aren't new features because we're looking for the fun here, right? We're trying to make sure this is fun. And I'm getting distracted with like more or less bugs, and that's just not a good use of my time right now. It's just hard when you see like an issue, you want to fix it. Um, all right, something like that. There's probably a better way to design these to avoid such massive objects, but I don't like that the pivot's over there. Let's switch it to center. That's better. Okay. All right, so those two have it. We'll get rid of these. There we go. Okay. Now they can either come from this direction, which, there's a slight risk here it will get thrown off, but I think that's okay. Or they can come from this direction, which when they hit those walls, they will be deflected. Looks like we need one here as well. These are a little bit bulky, so it's not great. I mean, I could probably make them shallower, but for now, again, I said I would stop doing it after this, so we are gonna just let it be what it is. This one I actually do want to be careful because I don't want to get stuck in there. I don't even actually know why this wall exists. Like, this is probably not a great place for this wall to be. So we do that. Get some breathing room from that prop. Okay, so let's start thinking features. So we're fiddling around a lot with the level. We have the score down, so that's good. We could get this isn't so much a feature, but we can get the player's name back. You get like a little heist name, which honestly, I don't think it's worth the effort right now. Let's not worry about that. What else do we need right off the bat? We have the multiplier, which is cool. I'm going to disable this because it's bothering me. Let me pull up. So something that I do sometimes is I'll pull up, like I'll make like quick notes to myself on things I want to do. So that way in times like these, I can be like, what do I need to work on? All right, looking through my list, I'll drop it into a notepad here. All right. So this is a lot of these were notes from the other day. So if you're watching the last stream, you probably saw some of these. People liked getting points, so that was cool. One idea was having the pegs stay the color from when they were last hit. I really liked the idea, but then I realized like the pegs are eventually going to go away and like probably not exist. They'll be replaced with like props and things. So I don't know if I really want to color the props. So in fact, I'm going to delete that. Some tracks can launch you back. Doing something good like opening your door gives you something like an extra ball. Okay, fair. So yeah, right now there is no doors or anything, which I thought I had those on. Let me jump back over. Maybe I just disabled it, but I'm pretty sure they're all lined up. So let's find those. I think I call like interaction points. They're there. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So yeah, we have all these doors and windows that are set up to kind of block the user from getting through and stealing the heist items. They were buggy earlier though, so like we may need to fix those. Maybe this guy. Oops. Well, sure, we can just move it that way. Maybe right in front of the couch. And then yeah, I guess to that point, I don't like that this one is totally surrounded by pegs. I feel like you can't ever hit it. Something like that, I guess. Yeah, it's tough because sometimes I delete too many pegs and then it's like tough to add them back because they appear to be kind of on a grid and I want to keep that pattern if possible. So I probably should have just disabled instead of deleting them. There we go. Something like that, I guess. Just trying to like leave room for that multi-ball is kind of the idea. Okay, so we got that going. Manual ball launch is another idea. That was a big thing. I was like, I know we talked about something interesting today. And that was like a timer. Yeah, limited number of balls, set time duration. I liked that idea. So let's get a timer in here. That should be pretty straightforward. First thing I want to do is just create the visual of the timer. I have to decide where I want it. We got our score down here. We could. Why am I like lose? Where is that going? So we could put it here against that wall. We could put it here. I'm just not sure how I feel about when the word goes through the pegs. This is the only problem. No, the timer is going to be super important though. So I am considering we may want to have it front and center. Now we also do have all of these big open spaces that we could use. Maybe we put the timer where the score's at. So set timer. Time remaining, maybe. Time remaining. I don't want this, to be a single. Yeah, I feel like seeing your time left across the bottom feels right. So then let's take that and that and move it somewhere else. Where I do not know. Hiccups. Okay, so put that there. Yeah, it's okay. I don't love it. It's just starting to feel really cluttered. I think also I want to flip these numbers upside down. There we go. It's a little weird that we start with the high numbers and go low, but that's because it has changed the locations. I don't know if I like these peg things at the end either, like where they come out. Those things, like, don't think I do. Could be just because the mesh or the color or something. What if they're blue like the walls? It's the wrong kind of blue. That's blue like the walls. I think that's better. So it blends in a little better. What is it? Flat blue is what the color I want. Okay. I think, well, that's not perfect by any means. I think that looks a little bit better. I think I would prefer just to have them off, but we need to figure out what we're going to replace it with. Okay. So we got our score. Yeah, time remaining. So we need. Of course, I deleted all those pegs that I'm like, oh, probably could have left some of those. Just gonna kind of eyeball these for now. Won't be perfectly where they're supposed to go, but that's all right. Trying to make it visually kind of make sense is the hope. Yeah, basically making some even rows there. Oh, I should make you green. Yeah, really all of these out here are meant to be green. Because we want them to blend in. These ones, I guess, would be gray. Weird. Oh, it is spelt gray with an E, not gray with an A. Okay, that works better. Now we're masking some of those angles. Oh, here's one more. Okay, now visually, I almost feel like I wouldn't want to receive shadows on these either, so you wouldn't see the two tone. Let me just see what that looks like. We have cast shadows. Can I not say do not receive shadows? Ah, there it is. So I made the floor flat, but it didn't really, and honestly, it didn't look as good. Okay, whatever, it's fine. Okay, so time remaining. We now need a bar of some kind, and also maybe repair a couple of these pegs just so it doesn't look so weird. Okay, so we need a fill bar. Yeah, Joseph, it's kind of like pinball, or plinko. Plinko is like the one where you kind of like drop the ball in the top, and there's all those pegs. Um, the 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 idea is to kind of hide that, though. It's like we're going to use the plinko pegs to kind of divert the direction, but the the physics are like governed by that, but we want it to be a heist game. So this is all placeholder art. It's going to be a group of raccoons. It's a multiplayer game, and you are trying to complete this heist. And so you're going to have multiple levels. This would be, someone's house, and each one of these pinball-looking balls would be one of the raccoon characters. You can pick your kind of skills. So if you're like a hacker or a lockpick or something like that, and you'll be able to interact with different points of the map, and then ultimately trying to work together with your team before the time runs out to get the heist item, which right now is represented by that kind of weird flag material there. Here, if I hit play, you can kind of see where it's at as of this moment. So part of the reason why things are moving in the directions they are is because, again, we're trying to obfuscate the pinball aspect of it. And so there's no bumpers. If it was straight down, it would look like Plinko. And so we're actually actively trying to go against what your brain would kind of think is downward, to make you think more like you're kind of like releasing the raccoons, right? So it's like, all right, everybody go. And the raccoons go. The reason why we're doing this kind of passive type of gameplay, right? It's like you release you release the ball or the raccoon, and it just kind of does its stuff. Is because the interface is going to be a mobile device, so you're going to have like a big screen. If you're playing like local multiplayer, or if a streamer is playing it, they're going to have this main screen that you're seeing here, and then you're going to be able to use your mobile device to set your position. So like, hey, I'm going to go to position 8, and I'm going to be the lockpick, and then let's go, and you get to just kind of do a bit of an async type of gameplay. So still in pre-production, still trying to figure out exactly what we want the design to be, but really like looking for the fun and trying to just experimenting a lot. It is getting fast. So like early on, a lot of the mechanics were kind of boring. They sounded cool, and we're like, oh, it'd be really neat if you could like draw, because we're talking like mobile device, right? You could like draw a path, and the on the big screen you'd see like your avatar like follow that exact path you drew, which was like cool tech, but it just wasn't fun. It was just like, all right, it walked the path I drew. We tried like node-based movement, grid-based movement, like slingshot using gyro. Just none of it really was that great. Gyro was the closest, in my opinion. Maybe close second was slingshot, but they had their own challenges. This is the first that's starting to feel just like kind of fun to watch, and it's going to keep hopefully getting better as I actually add more features. Okay, so yeah, let's get this time, because one downside to this design is it's going away from the heist theme a little bit. It's so fast paced that you just don't get that planning sensation. I'm hoping this time remaining before the heist fails, like the human wakes up or something, will give you that kind of tension a heist should make people feel. All right, let's see here. Let's get, where is my text panel? Okay, so let's just add an image which we can turn to a fill. Oh, that is blinding. It's totally blinded. Okay. And you got to be blinded as well, because that also filled y'all's feed. Okay, so move it down here. We will rotate it 90 or 45 rather. Oh my gosh, no, stop. That's actually before we rotate it. Let's stretch it to roughly the size we want. It's not rotating on the, there it goes. Okay. Time remaining. Now that looks, I keep zooming in and then it flashbangs. Let's go down. There we go. Then we will want to move it up a bit. One annoying thing about working on this kind of angled orthographic is if I'm at global, I can't go straight up. I think local, yeah. Oh, actually, this local's okay.
Sometimes I'm at a weird angle and I have to eyeball the rotations. I wonder if I should say time remaining in Heist to be extra clear about the theme. Well, we'll just try time remaining for now, maybe. It's not super obvious it's on the map. Like, I really like when the text is like pretty diegetic. But I'm not really sure how to make it more so looking like it's physically on the map. I mean, maybe by being under these pegs that I very intentionally moved out of the way, maybe that was a bad choice. Yeah, I think we'll have to tighten those up a little bit. Okay, so it'll be timer background. And then that could be a child of that. We'll call it timer fill. And we will give it just a generic sprite, which will allow us to make it filled. And then we can do horizontal, give it a color, just green for now. Green's actually a horrible idea because the background's green. We'll do dark blue, sure. And then now we have a fill. I feel like if it casts a shadow, it might look kind of cool. So maybe if it's like up in the air a little. I wonder if the text, I've actually never tried to cast shadow with a text object before. I don't know if that is a thing it does by default or is even capable in a world space canvas. Lighting can have it affected by lighting. Does that mean it will cast a shadow? Doesn't appear so. Okay, whatever. I'm mostly worried about functionality at this point. Like it is in the world. It just looks like UI though. And that's just so boring. I just don't want it to look just like UI. Maybe if we put it up here, like after I moved the score out of the way, I might now not even use that space. I think it's just because it's in such an obvious place for UI to go. And so you just kind of think like, oh yeah, that's just regular old UI. This is kind of interesting. I think because the chimney, like the initial thought is like, oh, it's hard to see, like the chimney's in the way. But I think that helps sell that, like, oh, this is in the world. I think I like it. Do we want to center it though? We could also throw it up there a bit, but then yeah, we again start to have that like it just feels like UI. Maybe something like that. We do need to expand the child. So it fills it all the way. Yep. And then we have the fill that goes across. I keep wanting to slide that up though. It feels better there to me. Just because it can breathe a little bit from the walls. Oh, I've been in play mode. That is a bummer. Okay. What is the thing that we want to lock in? We can just grab this and then just make a copy its position. Add paste, code of values. Yeah, actually, I did all that UI work in play mode, which means it didn't save. That's okay. Let's do UI image, shrink it down. background. It's pretty easy to redo the fill bar. Okay. Call it fill bar background. Time left fill. Okay, and then we need to give it that and change it to filled and change it to horizontal. Give it some kind of color. Trying to decide what color I like. I think light blue is all right. Might also change the text to be that same color. Sure, I think it works. Now we need to actually make the timer function. This is like a pretty boilerplate code. So, well, I think I'll actually write it this time. Sometimes I'll use ChatGPT for boilerplate stuff, but this one I think I'll write. Okay, so let's do, I think I have, part of the reason why is I think I have like a game manager that already was using timers that I just deactivated. So I might just, yeah, we have these timer fills. Yeah, let's repurpose this guy. In fact, where was this at? What does this look like? It's off camera somewhere. That's fine. I lost track of my, there it is, game state manager. And then we want to find our fill. Countdown text. I don't remember what. Oh, I was using the countdown text to like start the game. Yeah. If we turn that on, I bet it's going to be out of picture anyway. So we can just probably ignore it. We're just repurposing the script here. All right, let's rework it to do what we need it to do. Okay, so the game had different states that we would probably need to update. So level initialization is where everything gets set up. So we can like randomize positions, do cool animations, whatever. Mastermind planning, the idea is like you would talk it over with your team. What I might repurpose this for is like tutorialization, I guess, of like, here's what you need to do, get ready. Path drawing. Now this is where players would do stuff. You know what? Because this one has so many, like it has actually like VO, like saying very specific things. It has these scripts that say very specific things. I think actually I'm not going to use this one after all. But we can do the fill meter. We can recycle this, find where it's at. Here, it's a trick. We can just find the fill meter and look for where it's referenced. Oh, right. It was connected to the durations. Okay. Turns out this isn't super useful. Let's just make a new one. Create. We'll create, say, time left timer countdown or fill. I'm trying to think of like a generic term that I want to call it. Reduce fill meter over time. Okay, so this script will reduce fill meter over time. We will just throw it right directly on the fill background, so that way if we need to scale it or anything, no, it's still compiling. Where are you? Okay. So we'll throw this on fill meter background. Again, in case we have to reference the background, it's nice to be on the parent. We'll make a couple exposed variables. We use serialized fields so we don't accidentally call and change this value from somewhere else. It's the image. Oh, that's why. I need to use a Unity namespace. Image. We'll say fill background and fill meter. Then maybe we'll have like a bool public counting timer active. Okay, so we'll say if timer active, fill meter, and timer, and fill meter dot value dot fill amount is greater than 0, then we'll count down. Actually, let's not keep that together because we may want to do other stuff if timer is active. Goes greater than 0. Then we will do fill meter fill amount minus equal time dot delta time times timer speed. I think I don't know if we'd want to make it ever go faster than time dot delta time. We'll see how it feels. But you could do like multiply by speed of like how fast you want it to fill or reduce in this case. So that's if it's over 0. I don't think I want to here set if it gets below 0, it immediately refills. I think the idea is in this particular use case, we would say, hey, the match is up. But we would want to probably say, I guess we need to be able to get the fill meter value. So I think I might make a public getter, like get timer value. Let's do get timer value. And that will return a float. There we go. So yeah, you get that back, and if it's 0 or whatever, I mean, you can do whatever you want, I guess, once you get the value. I think we do want to probably throw an event when I'm just thinking through that, like ultimately we want to stop allowing players to get turns once a timer expires. Let's hook it up first. Let's just make sure it's working, and then we can worry about what events come from that. Okay, so if we go back to Unity, fill background itself, fill meters there. We'll just default it to active, but we might have something in the game set that to true. And then we should see. Okay, so it immediately emptied out. So yeah, we definitely do need a speed. Because it's at 1 now, right? Yeah, it's at 1 now. Okay. So now we can set that, set something slow. I think it's because the value is 1 and not like 100. So yeah, it empties out real quick. Okay, so our speed that we want to reduce, let's say like times 0.1. It might need to be 0.01, but actually, let's just try that. My gut tells me that's more likely, right? All right, it's compiling. I think it's too slow. I'm not seeing an error. Let's try raising it to 0.1. Maybe I was mistaken. Oh, it's going vertical. That's funny. Okay. Let's fix that. Oh, I said so. It's set to horizontal, but so check this out. It's set to horizontal, but because the thing is rotated and scaled in the wrong direction, we want vertical. So that's confusing for sure. Okay, so but now it's way too fast. Okay, now that we got the direction right, let's try one more time doing 0.01 like I initially thought. Yeah, okay. So if you're playing, I think that feels more realistic. And in fact, that might even be a little fast. There's a point where I remember components, you could like set the value of the slider to be more than 1. Where is our slider? So if I just set you like to 100, no, that's so weird. I swear it used to support that. But that's okay. I think we could do maybe a touch slower. 0075. That's just a little bit slower than it was. Just trying to like imagine the gameplay loop and how this would feel. So if we launched, yeah, then you have plenty of time to do. I mean, I would say you could get like 5 different turns before time expired. Which might be too many. It might be a little slow. I think we could probably go back to 0.01. I was just trying to like go through a whole round and see how it felt. So yeah, it'd be 0.01. Cool. Okay. So sweet. We were able to fix the multi-ball. Got our score back functional. and kind of reduced its numbers so that way it wasn't too wide. And then we got our time remaining script here. Nothing happens when time expires, but at least now that's there and we can read from it. The idea is that right now you have one ball and you have to wait till it exits to launch a new one. But instead, I think I'm going to put a limit on a quantity. So you have like a fixed amount. So like maybe four raccoons, and you launch them as fast as you want. You can launch all four at the very beginning. But if time expires, you no longer have the opportunity to launch any. And so you're working with other players, right? So if they're all going slow, you may need to wait because you want them to open a certain door and whatnot. So yeah, I think that will be something worked on tomorrow. Thanks for hanging